that how is it that in Krishna consciousness we establish the existence of a particular personality as God. So one of them he asked Srila Prabhupada, who is God? Srila Prabhupada looked at him and said, you don't know who is God? So they said, no, we know who is God. We want to know from you who is God. Srila Prabhupada said, you don't know who is God? He repeated that again. You don't know who is God? So there were a few boys who were studying in the ISKCON Gurukul at that point of time. They had a break. So Srila Prabhupada, he called out to the boys. Like they must be Shripada's age. Maybe younger, not older than that. Everyone knows Shripada. She's right here. So, or maybe they were Vrinda's age. Everyone knows Vrinda. She's right there at the back. So, Srila Prabhupada would have a jar of simply wonderfuls with him. A very tasty sweet, very, very likable sweet. Sweet balls. So Srila Prabhupada, he looked at the boys and he asked them, who is God? And then Prabhupada put his hand inside that jar. So the boys understood that if they gave the right answer, then they would get a sweet. So they said, Krishna is God. Srila Prabhupada smiled, very big smile. The boys got those simply wonderfuls. There was one sweet ball in their palm. And Srila Prabhupada still had his hand inside a jar. The boys, there was some supernatural force within them, their intuition that there is more to come. So Srila Prabhupada, with his hand in the jar, he again asked the boys, who is Krishna? And they immediately answered, Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. Srila Prabhupada smiled again and gave another sweet ball. So now they had two balls. Now they realized they didn't have any more hands. So they ran away. And Srila Prabhupada turned to all those visitors and he said, see, even little children, they know who is God. Many times, when we narrate this particular incident from Srila Prabhupada's life, it appears that children in Krishna consciousness are more knowledgeable than the greatest of scholars. It could quite It could be quite true. However, maybe we are being very naive. Once, Srila Prabhupada was visiting a particular temple in the United States of America. I don't remember which one. Some city, one of our temples. And a young child was sitting in his mother's lap. He looked at Prabhupada and said, "Cookie man!" So Prabhupada couldn't really understand. Well, he sat down on his Vyasasan, he gave the lecture, and when he got up from the Vyasasan, the child approached the Vyasasan. So his mother pulled him back. The child says, "Cookie man, cookie man." So Prabhupada, he asked her, "What is he saying?" So she said, "Prabhupada, he identifies you as the cookie man because after a lecture at a temple, sometimes devotees would bring a plate of cookies and give it to Srila Prabhupada to distribute to all the members of the audience. So the boy could always remember that this person gives cookies, the young child, the cookie man. Sometimes in Krishna consciousness, grown up children who are in their 30s, 40s, or 50s may occasionally also behave like that. You ask them, "Who is Krishna?" Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But when they are not put in the limelight like that, when they don't have to tick the boxes, so as to say, Krishna consciousness could be the cookie philosophy, the cookie movement. Oh, I like dancing and kirtan. I like wonderful darshan of deities. I like such and such presentation in Krishna consciousness. Very rarely we find people, no, how should I put it? Mostly, very rarely we would find somebody say, "I like doing my sadhana." Mostly we'll hear them say, "It is so difficult to chant. So many years we've been practicing and the mind simply will not listen." So the difference between or let us say, maturity is what defines a person's approach to what is important for them in life. Most of us are aware that life is short. At least we like saying that often. Life is too short. In this one lifetime, we have to become totally Krishna conscious. But typically, each one of them would have a plan for at least the next 5 years. If not more. It's not wrong or right. What we are saying is, when we say life is short, What do we actually mean? And when we are making plans for the future, what is our intent? What does it mean to us? What is the relevance of the statement that life is short? Sometimes when we hear conversations in devotional communities, it's like, Prabhuji, Mataji, you're so sincere. You're like really every day you're chanting nicely, you're doing seva. And one of the typical responses, Prabhu, Mataji, life is so short. Typical responses. So, what is the relevance of that statement? Is what we should try to ponder over. What is the relevance of that statement? What are going to be its consequences? So, maturity. From the human perspective, someone who's showing signs of maturity according to the common human standards, we say, oh, this person is an adult. And someone who shows lower levels of maturity, we say, oh, this person is being childish. So when we say there's only one lifetime that we have to practice Krishna consciousness and go back home, back to Godhead. Common statement. Have you heard it? Have most of us heard? Especially if one is in troubled waters in life. This lifetime, just one lifetime, we are going back home, back to Godhead. So when we make plans for the future, what is the intent of it? It's very important to know both these things. Why? There are two aspects of life, and they are eternally opposed to each other. Eternally. They are like opposite poles. You have if you have one particular aspect of life, you cannot have the other. If you have the other aspect of life, then you cannot have the first one because they're completely opposites. So, what are the two aspects of life? One is where we think that life is all about us and everything that we can see or perceive in life is meant for us to use for what we think is good or bad. That is one aspect of life. And the other aspect of life is that life is all about trying to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead and use all that we can see, perceive, or even beyond that. Like right now, I'm not able to see and perceive, but in the future, if I would be able to, so even then, when I have those resources, then the utility of all of these resources is good or bad according to how the Supreme Lord perceives it. There's no middle ground. Why there cannot be a middle ground? Because in one instance, everything revolves around us. So we are the center of the universe. And the other instance, the Supreme Lord is the center. So not just we, everyone revolves around the Supreme Lord. We are one of all that is revolving around the Supreme Lord. So can there be middle ground? No. Because you cannot have two centers. It's not possible. This is very nice. I think when we hear about it, it seems quite black and white. All right. I like the option of where everything is revolving around Krishna. I really like it. Yeah. I don't like this option where I am the center of the universe and everything is about me. I don't like it. Because to express what we like or what we dislike doesn't take much effort. To express what is right, what we think is right, or what is right and what is not right, doesn't take much effort. However, to establish that which is right or which is not right takes a lot of hard work. I mean, yeah, I can say I have complete faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Tomorrow, something happens in my life, and maybe my action is a little different. Well, my action may be different, but I still have complete faith in Krishna. My faith is unshaken. So, time is definitely finite in terms of human existence. In terms of existence in any of the various species of life, time is finite. So, we really have to make a choice and live by that choice. There's a joke that I'd heard about. It's just a joke, but today maybe it could be taken as being racist. So I'm not sure whether I should. It's just a joke, particular point. So a boy of a particular faith, a boy from a business family of a particular faith, was enrolled into a school of another faith. All right. The boy had been taught the principles of his faith, and the boy completely believed in those principles and practiced it. The school also was very, very particular about practicing or propagating the faith that they emphasized on. Okay? Now, so one day in class, a teacher of that school was asking all the students, who is God? And the teacher particularly asked this boy, because this boy belonged to another faith. Who's God? Now, according to the boy's faith, XYZ is God. According to the school, ABC is God. All right? So when the boy is asked to give the answer, the boy stands up and says, ABC is God. And the teacher is like, very good. Good boy. So the boy comes home. He says, do you know what happened today? The teacher asked me, who is God? So the elders, yeah, they were eager to hear his answer. What answer did you give? He said, I said, ABC is God. He says, but you know, in our faith, who's God? He says, yes, XYZ is God. So why did you answer? Why didn't you give this answer there? He said, well, business is business. Business family, right? So you get a business done. Sometimes in Krishna consciousness, maybe that is how we live. We just get a business done. We're like, yes, Krishna is definitely the Supreme Lord. And then we daily chores and we are like, I may not be doing what exactly is in Krishna consciousness, but I have faith that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. My faith is unshaken. Once upon a time, a young couple from Salinas, Salinas, Salina, Salina, Aubrey, Aubrey, all right, Aubrey, Aubrey. So a young couple from Aubrey who had just moved from North Dakota. They bought a place in Aubrey, a house, new house. So originally they are from India. All right. So they invite their parents here. Parents is not correct, right? It's parent, parent. What's the plural of parent? Parents? Okay, thank you. So they invited their parents. So the elderly couple comes. So this young couple, when they were in North Dakota, they had met a small community of Krishna conscious devotees. So they all became very Krishna conscious. Their parents would live in Himachal Pradesh, in India. All right? Shimla. They had a cloth business there. So they come over. The young couple are very much now in North Dakota, like way there in the wilderness, a small community. And the small community is very fired up. We have to teach, preach, talk, and convince everyone, especially our relatives, to Krishna consciousness. So that is very good. You should have enthusiasm. The parents, they came to Aubrey, Texas. The first thing they saw was the house is all Hare Krishna. So what is this? So the young couple is like, oh, Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. We have stopped eating onion and garlic. We don't use that anymore in our food. No tea and coffee. Even before we can tell them that, we do kirtan. First, we tell them all of these things because you know that these are activities that are quote unquote sinful. Right? So this is what we have done. So whatever joy the parents had, that that whole ocean of joy kind of was held up by this dam now. They built a dam like that. So they are concerned. So the first discussion that they had was about, is everything all right? you know, first they had amongst themselves a discussion. They wake up in the morning and they're chanting Hare Krishna. The kitchen was kind of cold. Nothing cooking in the kitchen in the morning. You know, they are used to waking up in the morning, having a cup of tea, hot cup of tea. No hot water also. Then they have this Mridanga Kartal. The young couple feels it's very melodious. The old couple is like, the parents are like, so loud. You know that? We can relate to it? Yeah. So they have a discussion, and there is no conclusion to this discussion. The young couple is completely convinced that they are still in Maya and they need a lot of help. And the elderly couple are really wondering that did we do the right thing giving them all of this education and sending them abroad for a good, better career? So both have their doubts. Now come in the community of devotees into the picture. Prabhuji Mataji, you're a mentor, you're senior. You please talk to our parents. Please convince them. Well, after a month, the parents go back. They are a little disillusioned with the whole concept of going to America. However, a week after they land in India, in Shimla, Himachal Pradesh again, they tell their children, do you know, right next door, the uncle and auntie that used to live next door, they moved. And who moved into the new house? Who are the new owners? They're Hare Krishna devotees. So when these devotees heard that Krishna, they thought, oh, Krishna is so merciful. So these devotees immediately got their contact details. And now they're talking more to the devotees than to their parents. Prabhuji Mataji, please convince our parents. Well, the parents were good people too. They had their own faith. I mean, they had lived a very pious life. So it was taking some time. Slowly, the mother was taking up to the practices of Krishna consciousness. So these are the parents of the son, the boy. So the boy is now he begins talking to the mother a little more. A little more. Previously also would talk, but now talks a little more. Convince Papa. Otherwise, you know what the scriptures say? One should not become a mother, a father, a guru, a teacher. And especially it speaks about children. A son that does not save the ancestors from going to hell is a kuputra. And one who saves the ancestors and helps them to be liberated is a suputra. So they are telling all of this to their mother. Their mother is like, you know how your father is. Take some time. He appreciates what you are doing. But they are really eager. Now, the next door neighbor in Shimla, their parents come to visit them. And where are their parents coming from? Their parents are coming from Delhi, close to the east of Kailash temple, ISKCON center, where they regularly attend the Sunday weekly programs. Uncle, please convince my father. So uncle tries to do his bit. One day uncle says, I'm going on a pilgrimage. Where are you going to, uncle? I'm going to Mayapur. Please take my father along too. He said, I talked to your father. Doesn't seem very much interested in going to Mayapur. But I have a plan. I think he would be very much interested in going to Varanasi, Kashi. So first I'll take him to Kashi, then I'll take him to Mayapur. I've become friends with him, so I'll tell him a place of your liking and a place of my liking. Both are pilgrimage places, places of pilgrimage. Let's go. So our young couple here in Aubrey, especially the boy, received very good news. His father had agreed to go on the pilgrimage. They go on the pilgrimage. First, they go to Varanasi. They see Baba Vishwanath's temple. They go to visit the Shashwamedh Ghat. They go to Annapurna Devi's temple. Then they say, let us go to Manikarnika Ghat. You know what is Manikarnika Ghat? That is where the holiest of, the most holy of cremation grounds are there. Manikarnika Ghat. Burning ghats. So the Krishna conscious gentleman, he felt that this could be a very good experience. Seeing bodies burning could bring about a sense of renunciation. And then we could go to Mayapur. So since from morning to evening, they sat there at Manikarnika Ghat, watching so many funeral pyres burn, so many bodies burn. Because at Manikarnika Ghat, you have sometimes it's really very much congested. You could have dozens of funeral pyres going. It's a huge ghat. So he sat there and he told his friend, I have a very deep realization today. He was very grave. I have a very deep realization. So he calls up his son and he says, "Son, today I spent the entire day seeing dead bodies burn here. I saw dozens of dead bodies burn, and then I realized that I simply wasted my life. If we had been in the wood business rather than the cloth business, we could have made so much more profit. Life is such a waste." Now, I could have told that story in 2 minutes too. But then you would like, that is a nice story. That was unexpected, isn't it? Some of you may have heard this before, but still it was unexpected. So it is very important to find the relevance of what we have faith in. Very important. We cannot simply keep on expressing, "Oh, this is what I believe in, this is what I do every day." How relevant do we find it? How much, what is its valuation in terms of whatever we consider valuable? If we consider money to be valuable, then what is the value of our faith today? Is it worth $10, $100, $1,000? Because if somebody feels that I've lost, let's say, 10K, and the person cannot sleep nights. But if one says that no, Krishna consciousness is more important than all the money in the world, and chanting is the process, and if somehow or the other they're not able to focus on chanting again and they can sleep easily on that, then we can be sure that it is, at least for that day, it is valued much less than 10K dollars. Isn't it? So it's very important to know what is the relevance of what we believe in, what is the relevance of that which we express faith in today. And we must be able to do that every single day for as long as we live. Because that is how the stock market works. Today, that is that which seems relevant at 10K, tomorrow may be relevant at 20K. So every day we have to evaluate it. Evaluation has to be done. And second, what is the intent of all our plans that we make for the future? What is the intent of it? That is very important to note. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, that which is very often or often repeated in devotional circles, especially Krishna conscious communities, is expressed by Shukdev Goswami. He says, for those who are too attached to material enjoyment, sense gratification is very difficult to give up. Even when one is an invalid because of old age, one cannot give up such desires for sense gratification. Therefore, one who actually desires happiness must give up such unsatisfied desires which are the cause of all tribulations. The only way we can give up sense gratification is tam trishnam dukkha nivaham sharma kamo dhrutam tyajet. Only when we understand it is dukkha nivaham, till till the time we only hear how sense gratification is a cause of problems. It is just a conception in the mind. It's something that we imagine about. However, when we understand that whatever are the problems that we are having in life is one way or the other the consequence of being attached to some form of enjoyment of the senses, then it becomes very easy to accept that, yeah, sense gratification basically leads to distress. So, again, the point being stressed here is relevance. How is it relevant in our life? या दुष्टजा दुर्मतिभिर जीर्यतो या न जीर्यते या दुस्त्यज. Very difficult to give up. Durmatibhir. Srila Prabhupada translates that in Prabhupada's translation. It is somebody who's attached to sense gratification. Durmatibhir. I was once with a friend and we were having lunch. This was many, many years ago, like maybe about 35 years ago in my teens. So he was eating out of the lunch box and he was crying tears. Tears are just falling like. I'm like, what happened? What happened? He says, nothing. And he's eating. I'm like, is it too spicy? He's like, no. He's crying. I was like, stop crying. He said, I'm not crying. The tears are just falling. I said, they don't look tears of joy. They look tears of pain. He's like, no, this is so tasty. I tasted. It's my tongue is on fire. I'm not used to that kind of spiciness. It's as if spice is the main ingredient and little food has been added to it. That's how it has been prepared. That was according to my perception. According to his perception, it was food with a tinge of spice in it. So I asked him, how do you enjoy eating this? This is even before coming to Krishna consciousness. I mean, it was common sense. I asked that person, how do you enjoy eating this? Although your entire body, except your tongue, is repelling against this consumption. Your body doesn't like it. Your tears are expressing that. Don't torture us. But the tongue is saying, no, no. You know what he said? तुझे समझ में नहीं आएगा. You will never understand this. And I'm like, I don't think so. I would want to be such a fool to be able to not understand what is happening. Well, 2 days later, I was with another friend. A couple of them. And we were having our food. And one of my companions, he eats from my box. He's like, it's so spicy, it's so spicy. I'm like, what? I'm not even crying. He's like, I am crying. See, it is so spicy, my tongue is on fire. How can you eat this? And I said, तुझे समझ में नहीं आएगा. Next time you go to Govindas, please remember this example. या दुष्टजा durmatibhir. How can you do it? You'll never understand. So durmatibhir. Jiryato yana jiryate. That desire for sense gratification never ever becomes invalid. Although you may become old and invalid, it never grows old. In fact, sometimes, many a times, on one occasion or the other, we may find almost everyone, excepting a few, in their old age express, "जब हम जवान थे," in our young days, within a few years, you'll see very young days within the womb, in our young days. Even amongst devotee circles, oh, when we had just come to Krishna consciousness, so really. So desires never grow old. We may grow old. Especially desire for sense gratification. That is what we are talking of. If there's desire for serving Krishna, that also would never grow old, even if you grow old. Like Sanatan Goswami, he's still wanting to do his parikrama, badi parikrama. Krishna has to come and say, Baba, please stop. Baba is like, Lala, young boy, it is all right. Krishna comes as a young coward boy. I'm perfectly all right. He says, Baba, I cannot see you go around every day like this. You barely walk, you crawl. Like, yeah, I know. This body doesn't, it's not the same. I like to run, I would want to run, but the body crawls. But it's okay. So then Krishna reveals himself and says, Baba, take this Giriraj Shila and do type parikrama 4 times. It is equivalent to doing a complete parikrama. So then Sanatana Goswami says, thank you. Because he knows that in the future a lot of devotees will get benefit from it. They're like, we did Giriraj Parikrama. Really? How long did it take? Oh, just 4 minutes. Where? Radha Damodar temple. We went around this Giriraj Shila. Krishna has proclaimed that if you do go around it 4 times, you've done the entire Giriraj Parikrama. Hari Bol! So, jiryato yana jiryate. Tam trishnam dukha nivaha. Trishna, the thirst to achieve the enjoyment that the senses can give you, leads you to distress. One way or the other. Even if you find enjoyment, your pocket is going to be a little low on its currency. You're like, oh my God. Anyways, it was worth it. But you're still concerned. No? Okay. Monthly accounts. So one way or the other, there's going to be some distress. Sharma kamo drutam tyajet. Therefore, an intelligent person gives up this faith or this, even the minimal of conviction that a little sense gratification can sometimes make you happy. Gives up that. Why? न जातु कामः कामानाम् उपभोगे न शाम्यति हविषा कृष्णवर्त्मेव भूय एवाभिवर्धते न जातु कामः कामानाम्. Every time one desire gets fulfilled, during the journey of fulfilling the desire, you find out that there is the opportunity to fulfill another desire. Right? Like you buy a house, you sign the signing amount. You pay the signing amount. Upgrades. Since I'm already paying so much, why not? And after some time, oh, the neighbors are doing this. Should we do that too? So every time you start on a journey of trying to fulfill the senses, on the way, there are many exits that lead you to seemingly greener grounds of or fields of enjoyment. And you're like, let's take a break. And many times, if we are not gone to see that place, no, we would not have realized that we could have this upgrade too. It's not bad. I'm not saying that because somebody goes for upgrades, therefore they are being very, they are being trying to enjoy the senses. That is not the point. The point that is being mentioned is the more you feed the attempt of the senses to enjoy, the more they reveal opportunities for new sense enjoyment. Just as the more you add Havisha Krishna Vartmeva, the more you add fuel to fire, you add ghee to fire, the more the fire reveals how gloriously it can shine. You're like, the last time I put 2 spoons and it really flared up. Swaha. Picture. Take now we'll have a good picture, nice sacrificial fire, and I am there. Swaha. So that every time you add fuel to fire, the fire reveals a different aspect of its glory, of how it shines. And you're like, my God, next time I should do this also. That is how sense gratification is. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada says something very interesting. He quotes from the 10th canto. He says, if one becomes Krishna conscious, then one can give up this disease, this infection. Otherwise, this desire for satisfying the senses will continue and one cannot have peace of mind. I was once with a few saintly people. This was in Vrindavan. I saw a group of saintly people sitting on the banks of the Yamuna, so I sat down with them. They were having nice discussion. I was listening to the discussion. How to achieve peace, Shanti. So, one of these sadhus offered a very practical perspective. He said, if you want to achieve peace, शांति चाहिए तो पहले खुद शांत हो जाओ. If you want to have peace, then first of all, you be at peace with yourself. If we want our chanting to be good, then we should be good with our chanting. Yes? So, Krishna offers us that alternative. Therefore, I started off by saying two aspects, or there are two ways that one can live life. There are two aspects of life in this creation. Once upon a time, a very, very materially engrossed person was sitting on the banks of a river, waiting for a ferry to go across for some business on the other side of the river. Now, close to this bank where he was sitting, where he would catch the ferries, the local villages would sometimes bring dead bodies, especially of young children who had died prematurely, and give them jal samadhi. There are certain customs where if children are younger than 14 years of age, they have not reached puberty, then they give them jal samadhi if they have passed away. That means they don't burn their bodies in the cremation grounds. They offer it to the river, to the river body or the body of water. So he's sitting there waiting for his ferry, and he saw a dead body float by. And this person, when he saw the dead body float by, he said, typically, for anybody to float in the river, you should know how to swim, unless until you're an aquatic. If you're a terrestrial, then to float in water, you should know how to swim. This dead body is floating. So this person, when he gets the ferry, he takes the ferry, goes across, and from there he just walks all the way to Vrindavan. So many years later, after he has been a practicing sadhu in Vrindavan, somebody asked him, "Sir, what is your story?" He said, "I saw the dead body of a young child floating by, and a thought that came to my mind that for the living to float in water, they need to know how to swim. But the dead can easily float in water." So he said, "I had a realization that I've heard many people say that this world is an ocean of material desires. And if you really want to be happy, you have to go across this ocean of material desires. To be able to easily go across this ocean of material desires, why not use the facility of a dead body? Because a dead body can easily float." So people are like, "Oh, were you thinking of committing suicide or what?" He said, "No, no, no. I was thinking that since this is the ocean of material desires, if I die, if I let my material desires die, then I'm dead in this ocean. If this is an ocean of material desires, if I let my material desires die, then I'm dead, and I can easily float across this ocean. So that made me come to Vrindavan." So what is the intent of a future plans? Is it based on strong philosophical realization? Or is it just a borrowed concept? Somebody just convinced us this is the best thing to do. Oh, yeah, yeah, intellectually, I'm convinced. Intellectually, it makes sense. You know what is the problem of just being intellectually convinced? Till the time you meet somebody who's very intellectually astute, you have no problem. But you meet another person that is intellectually astute, your entire world of truthful existence collapses. The entire your all your belief system collapses because you're challenged by somebody who's more astute intellectually. And the world is a very, very strange place. There are innumerable individuals with exceptional qualities in this world, exceptionally intellectual people in this world. The day we meet somebody who's also well read in certain darshans of philosophy, and we have a discussion with them, that is when we realize that it's better to just give a book and say, you read this book, Prabhupada will convince you. So, what is the intent of a future plans? I want to do this, I want to maybe stay in Vrindavan, stay close to the temple, regularly do services at temple. So many future plans. What is its intent? Oh, the intent is very clear. We want to serve Krishna. So, what is the philosophical basis of realization of this intent? What is that happened in our lives that convinced us? Done. This makes me realize that I have to serve Krishna only and no one else. Because Krishnaiva Eka Kevalam is what is required for becoming free from the material world and entering into the spiritual realm of devotional services. Krishnaika Sharanam or Krishnaika Kevalam. So realization is very important. What is realization? The first time I saw an avocado growing up in India, nowadays we have avocados in India too. But growing up in India, you never knew what is an avocado. So the first time I saw an avocado and I saw that how greasy it is, like, I won't have it. It's not possible. I'll take other nutritious, vegetables or fruits, but this is too. I mean, it looks so weird. And when you cut it, especially a ripe avocado, and you cut it after some time, it turns black. Like, no, no, no. And then one particular day, somebody made some creative preparation. I asked them, what is this? They said, guacamole. I said, wow, this is just amazing. What is it made up of? Avocado. I'm like, why didn't people introduce me to avocados like this? I wasted so many years of my life thinking that avocados couldn't be tasty enough. I was fooled by its looks. Now, I also am not just convinced, I try to convince somebody who's new to avocados that this is really good. And if I see a little deterrence on their part, I give them guacamole. And that's it. Realization, see? So the intent is very clear. I have realized the taste of this particular vegetable. It's a fruit, I guess, fruit, right? The fruits of chanting are available to taste. The fruits of service are available to taste. However, what is the preparation that can give us that taste? That can help us have realized taste? That we should be eager to find. And just as we find everything on the internet, I mean, it's what I mean to say is that if you look for it, you find it. Similarly, if you're really eager to find realization, then you find it by connecting with the right people, not just by connecting people who you think are right people or who you certify are right people. You understand the difference? Sometimes we accept a community, oh, because they are such and such, therefore they are all certified to be compliant. So, how do we find the right people and not miss out our chance by connecting with that which we think are right people or whom we have certified as right people? It is quite possible that they could be the right people. It's also quite possible that because we feel they are the right people, our eyes are covered with our understanding of the glasses of our understanding of how they are right. So, how do we find out the right people? There's only one way. That is the way of the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna tells Arjuna, get up, yasha labhaswa, achieve success. But for that, you need to fight. Uttishta, you need to fight. You need to really work. Sincere efforts have to be there consistently. So, day in and day out, consistently, we put it on sincere efforts. So, the intent is very clear. I put in my sincere efforts based on what I have learned in Parampara. I will not get diverted with what I think is the correct connection. I will try out the connections that are there. If it works out, that means I made the right connection. If it is not working out, then let me accept the fact that I'm with good people, but for me, I still have to find the right connection. Yes? So Krishna says, Man mana bhava mat bhakto. You have to be an individual devotee of mine. You have to, as an individual person, offer me respects. We will only offer respect if we believe that offering respect is the right thing for me to do. We will offer respects otherwise too, but those will be superficial respect because somebody has convinced us to offer respect. And we know that because of a conviction, because we've been convinced, we feel that we'll receive the benefit. But the day we have strong belief and faith, which is called nishtha, that will bring us to ruchi, asakti, our own belief system rooted in personal realization. And this belief system is consistent. Nishtha is described as every day you are unwavering. Nishtita, anishtita. Anishtita is wavering, and nishtita is unwavering, which means today my practice was unblemished. Yesterday also my practice was unblemished. Last week also it was unblemished. Last month too it was unblemished. That is called as nishtha. And nishtha is born of strong practice. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Any questions? Any comments? Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.
Please, Rohinipriya Prabhu ki
Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.